Welcome, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to the show. That was the Meteor75 Pro. BetaFPV Meteor75 Pro bind and fly just with a propeller swap. I moved it from the Gemfan 45mm tri-blades that it comes with over to these HQ 45mm tri-blades. These are a little bit lighter, and they seem to be a little bit better balanced. And it flies really good. Like, this setup is, like, shocking. And we're going to talk more about it tonight. We're going to compare it to a couple of the 75mm custom-built rigs, which have vanished. They're similar to this. This one has Walksnail, but, yeah, we've spent tons of time. And admittedly, the 75mm custom builds do fly a little bit better, but for a bind and fly, this is hysterically good. But yeah, we're gonna compare it to a couple of the custom builds that we've been working on forever, and talk about what I would upgrade on it, as well as we'll look at the tune real quick. I was able to push the tune up a little bit with these slightly more balanced propellers. And yeah, really, really impressive stuff. Really decent bind and fly. With the 75 Air coming out, you might see these 75 Pros start to get discounted, because maybe they'll do a lightweight version of this. For anybody that doesn't know, 75 Pro, Meteor, the Pro, designates slightly bigger propellers. There's a 65 Pro that I really don't recommend, and then there's this 75 Pro. And yeah, that Pro designation means that they've moved from like basically 40mm propellers to 45s, and so the frame is bigger, the props are bigger. Luckily, they put like the perfect motors on this rig, which is the main reason that it flies so good. And so, yeah, you've got a, it is actually 75 motor. So when we say 65mm TinyWhoop, 75mm TinyWhoop, we're talking about the motor to motor distance. We're not talking about the size of the propellers. 65mm propellers are 2.5 inches. The actual propellers that we run on 65 millimeter rigs are 1.2 inches, right? And so this motor to motor distance actually is 75, but they've made the ducts bigger in the frame, and in the process, like, the whole frame has gotten bigger. So, like, yeah, the motor to motor post to motor post distance hasn't changed from the other 75s, but everything else has, and it gets significantly heavier. We're gonna weigh a bunch of these in a little bit, and you'll get to see. And it flies heavy. Like, there's no mistaking the extra weight, but it handles it really well. The bigger props, these 1102 22,000 kV motors. The package really works well together. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about tonight, my friends. I've still got these flight files playing. Northern Tier was first in the chat. Not applicable was next. Curtis Hayes, Andrew Taylor, Douglas 6, JP Spin, Cloudhopper, Safe Zone, Timmons, Notice, JP Spin, Render, Dave S, McMucus, Andrew Taylor, Low Roll and Groove, Kevin James, CX, BFPV, Cause 1973, Cloudhopper, Render, Notice, Paulie New, Andrew Taylor, Skull 901, Scotty Scott, Dave S, Brent Anderson, Sleepy CBR, Zoe 101, Demo FPV, Fusion Catalyst, Josh S, County FPV, what's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday, my friends. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com and just click every single button that you possibly can, and we will do this together forever. There's a ton of affiliate links over there. Change your bookmarks to an affiliate link, whatever works for you. Just try to make sure that you use affiliate links whenever you're doing an order on the internet. Somebody has one. If I don't have one, somebody's got one to that website. We're working on stuff. We need your support. Help us out. It's free. It only takes a second. If you change your bookmarks over to people's affiliate links, it won't take any time. I've got a Fiverr page where you can work one-on-one with me or just message me. Let me help you stop buying stuff that catches on fire. And or let me help you learn how to tune, and or let me help you learn how to fly better. And then there's a Etsy store with some fun stuff that you can buy. Dog's not even under there anymore. He's over here. What do you want? Teddy, what would you like? What is this longing look on your face? Come here so I can pick you up. What a jerk. Yeah, lots of good stuff going on. Head on over, click some buttons, and we'll hang out till the dawn of time. Maybe not that long. In the chat, if you want to talk directly to me, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. There he is. Oh my god, dog. Easy. Tried to grab me. Just freaked the fuck out. Yeah, type CiottiFPV into your comments in the chat and it'll light up an orange, or do a super chat. We are trying the HDLRC Spectre 1 to 2S AIO, and yeah, I'm gonna test it and beat the shit out of it and probably destroy it for you beautiful people, and then we'll all know together. McMucus says stuck in the chicken co-op. No. He put it. Fuck you. He put a dash in there. He typed CO-OP. That's co-op. That's not coop. That's co-op. Stuck in the chicken coop, cleaning the chicken poop. I should be ripping my TinyWhoop for Tyrant's Whoop boot. It was a dad joke in the end. Cloudhopper says Black Market FPV has 2G4 Mobula 6s in stock. $106, no batteries. There you guys go. Get you a 2G4. What? Fuzzy dog, what do you want? Why do you run away like this? Why run? I pick you up and I hold you up to the camera. I don't beat you. You are a spoiled ass son of a bitch, aren't you? Come here. Come to me. Come hither. Come say hi to the internet, dog. No! He escaped my grasp again. Oh, now he thinks it's a game. Oh, fuck. What have I done? Oh! You guys only got one drive-by. He went upstairs on that last drive-by. Good call, Cloudhopper. Thanks for letting the people know. Render says, I have the same 75mm Pro at home, and it's honestly stupid how smooth and responsive it is, LOL. Yeah, I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised. And it did not take very much to get it like absolutely dialed. So yeah, we're gonna dive into it, watch some footage. I already played some footage at the intro to the stream. I got some more to play for you. Sleepy CBR says, "What's up, CiottiFPV and Gangly Gang? What's up, homie?" Fusion Catalyst says it's 85 millimeters, not 75. Really? I'll be damned. They lied. They're supposed to change the name to Meteor 80 Pro then. Those donkeys. Yeah, looks like you're right. What the hell, BetaFPV? That's that word. That's that word. Bait and switch. It's a bait and switch. Get your money back, guys. Good luck with that in China. 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 Fucking piece of shit. Goddamn Nazis walking among us. CMYK says, Hot Boy Summer. What's up, homie? Kinetic says, are you going to start recommending the ELRS75? No, especially because I haven't flown one yet. I mean, here's what I can probably say, though. If you want a 75 millimeter rig and you don't want to upgrade it, the ELRS75, much like the ELRS65, is probably a great bet. I can't specifically speak to it because I haven't flown it. But yeah, well, hold on, let me see. BetaFPV ELRS75. Let me make sure that the motors aren't dumb. So what do you got? What did you put on here? 802 23,000 kV motor. Well, could be worse. It would really be nice if that was like a 25,000 kV. But something that we're learning is that BetaFPV motors are underrated. I'd mistakenly said last stream and the stream before that Happy Model motors are overrated. They actually turn a lower kV than what is stamped on the bell. As it turns out, Happy Model are the ones that are right. Look, let me preface all this with, it kind of doesn't matter, sort of. Happy Model makes the motors that are the most efficient and the most powerful. And so, get Happy Model motors. And if you want more kV and more power, get the higher kV motors. If you want less power and more runtime, get the lower kV motors. Cool. The problem with all of this is, if you want to try to compare a BetaFPV motor to a Happy Model motor, and if you use the kV values that are stamped on the bell, that's going to be a problem. Whether the Happy Model motors are overrated and the BetaFPV motors are dead on, you can also substitute me saying BetaFPV here with VCI and a couple of the other companies. It doesn't really matter as much who's right and who's wrong here. But it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. It's beginning to look a lot like Happy Model is right and everybody else's is wrong. My testing and Chris Rosser's testing shows that Happy Model is... the Happy Model motors are much lower kV than what's stamped on the bell. We are not measuring kV the way that you're supposed to. But there's a whole bunch of different ways you can kind of measure kV. But regardless, this here by Stephen Merrill on Facebook. I'm going to drop a link into the chat here for you beautiful bastards. Stephen Merrill is testing the kV the right way. Who's to say if this is the right way or not? This is certainly the way to test it with the most expensive gear. So, you know, that's probably the right way. And so, yeah, the way that he's testing it with an oscilloscope, he's showing that the Happy Model 702 30,000s are coming in at 30,120 kV. He has also tested... He has also tested, yeah, and then look, BetaFPV 27,000 kV is actually coming in at 32,273 kV. Happy Model 26,000 kV is coming in at 25,740 kV. Look, Happy Model is absolutely slaying with their motors, so I don't know, maybe they're right. This doesn't necessarily surprise me that these numbers are correct, that the Happy Model motors are doing so well in this testing, because, like, look, Happy Model has made more of these motors, and, like, their motors constantly give you more power and more efficiency. Both of those things. It's ridiculous. And so, I don't know, just maybe the company that's making the best TinyWhoop motors also have, you know, they're dialing their motors in properly in terms of the KV ratings. All that being said, like I said a minute ago, it doesn't matter. If you're buying any other motor than Happy Model, you're going to get something that's either not as efficient or not as powerful, but it's kind of both. Like, for the amount of power that they have, they won't be as efficient. And so it sort of doesn't matter until one of these other companies starts making a motor that can compete with Happy Model. Buy Happy Model motors. And if you want more power than their 30,000 kV, buy their 32,000 kV, right? Like, you don't know sitting here exactly the right kV for the amount of power that you want. You don't, because you haven't flown every single motor. And so you're going to have to guess anyway. So look, like, if you want a 702 with a bunch of power, get the 36,000 kV from TinyWhoop.com, and then if it's too much power, you can motor limit it down. If you want motors with, like, a medium amount of power, get the 30 or the 32,000s. If it's too much, you can scale it down. If you want all the power in the universe, get the 40,000s from Weebleed, right? 32,000s you can also get from Weebleed. So yeah, it kind of doesn't matter, but it does, because you buy a BetaFPV AIO, bind and fly, and it comes with a set of motors. Let's say it comes with a set of 0702 28,000s, and you decide, like, all right, I'm going to change the frame and I'm going to change the motor over to Happy Model. If you want that same amount of power, you can't buy a Happy Model 28,000. You actually have to buy a Happy Model 32,000 from Weebleed, because BetaFPV is grossly understating the amount of KV that the motor actually makes. So it's super annoying, but yeah, for the most part, just buy Happy Model motors and then whatever. A Happy Model 30,000 kV versus a 32,000 kV, they're correct. The 32,000 kV is going to make a little bit more power than the 30. This isn't the end of the world, because, like, what we're not seeing is, like, a Happy Model 26,000 making more power than a Happy Model 30,000, right? Like, the Happy Model motors line up perfectly. The KV goes up, the power goes up, the RPM goes up. It is as expected. And so if you're getting something other than Happy Model, you're on your own. But what I can tell you is that with a lot of the testing, it looks like everybody is underrating their motors. So pretty much all the other motor manufacturers, the number that's on the bell, you're going to get more power and less efficiency than what that says. Or you can flip it and say that Happy Model is overrating their motors, and when you buy a Happy Model motor, you're going to get less KV than what is stamped on the bell. It doesn't really matter. Those two things say the same exact thing. But yeah, there you guys go. I gave you the link to that post. I'm going to close that tab now. So yeah, the ELRS75 has a good set of motors on it. It's going to be really good. I wish those were a little bit higher KV, but it's a lightweight rig. And them being 23,000 kV, I think it says, they're probably actually going to make the power of like a 25 or a 26 in Happy Model world. And that's actually really nice. So the ELRS75 is probably really, really good. I don't recommend you upgrade it, though, because it is direct soldered motors, which is a total pain in the ass. They use an external receiver setup. Their camera and canopy are pretty much almost the lightest setup available. It's so light that like you don't really have to worry about it. So yeah, the Air 75 is a great rig to just fly. The Mobula 7 1S ELRS is the 75 rig that you're going to buy if you want to upgrade, if you want to change motors, because you're probably going to have to, because the motors it comes with are too low of a KV. The X12 AIO is really stuck in that frame, but luckily the Mobula 7 1S frame is awesome. I'm sorry, Mobula 7 V4 frame is awesome. And then the camera and canopy it comes with are ultra lightweight as well. So yeah, but you obviously could upgrade them. So yeah, there you go. If you want to buy a 75 that you're going to upgrade, I still think the Mobula 7 1S is the best bet. If you want one just to fly around, Meteor 75 Air, or the Meteor 75 Pro. I'm actually pretty shocked by this. If you want something as more of an outdoor and indoor kind of rig, Meteor 75 Air. If you want more outdoor, maybe it can still fly indoor, but yeah, more outdoor than indoor. Meteor 75 Pro is going to be good for that, or strictly outdoor. You could maybe say that this is strictly for outside. And so yeah, let me get caught up on chat, and then we will dive into this thing, look at what I did to the tune, talk about the upgrade path, and we'll even fly it around in the house and see if I can not kill everything in sight. It's awful heavy to be. This is the last time I'm gonna fly this thing around in the house, because I'm really tempting fate. Like the weight that this thing is, when you crash into your personal belongings, it hits hard, and I don't need to be breaking shit. So yeah, again, this is an outdoor TinyWhoop. And we'll talk about the negatives too of this guy. Hold on. Render says that extra 5 millimeters is pro. That's actually the title of my sex tape. Striker says, I remember your simple tuning guide, but I don't remember the thing. The thing. What's the thing? Tuning in 2024 is just either moving the master multiplier up until the quad starts acting or sounding funny, and then backing it off a little bit. If that's too simple for you, you grab the very first D-gain slider, you move it from 1.0 up to 1.2, fly it, make sure all is well, then you move it to 1.3, and you take the second slider, P and I, you move that up to 1.1, fly it, make sure it's cool. I don't need that shit to be on every single night. This is silly. What alarm is that? That's my 10:30 alarm. Edit every day. Yeah, no, not every day. We're going to turn that off Wednesdays and Mondays, because I'm streaming when that goes off. There we go. Still reminding myself to edit every day, just not while I'm doing something else. And then you keep that ratio, and you just keep, the ratio is like this. 1.3, 1.1, top two sliders, 1.5, 1.3, 1.7, 1.5, 1.9, 1.7, and up you go. At some point, it'll start acting funny. Back it off a little bit. Away you go. Your tune is perfect. Brand Anderson says, explains the 80 millimeter frames. Remember you got one. Yeah, 82. Right. The newbie drone. The newbie drone Cockroach 82. Yeah. Kinetic says Pyro also has 2G4. Wow, they really still have them in stock. Damn. Pyro still has 2G4 Mobula 6s in stock, $102, 19,000 kV version. Hang on to those motors, and then you can put them onto a 2S rig. Curtis Hayes says, WTF calling people Nazis. He says, you're losing some of your subscribers with recent name calling, right? That's fine. It's fine. I have always wanted to punch a Nazi, but I probably won't get a chance to. So this is me E-punching a Nazi. JP Spin says, my Mavic 6 looks like a weed whacker after running about 25 batteries a day in my yard. I've replaced the props a few times, but this little guy just takes it. If you want to get the green off, the easiest way I've found is to take just a little bit of rubbing alcohol on a Q-tip and then just run it around inside the ducts. It'll just melt most of that grass out. It's good. Works really, really well. Flyzone says, hey, Josh S. says, I have several Crazy Bee 1S light boards and OG BetaFPV 1S boards, but they are FR Sky D8. I do have a 4-in-1. I can use them on my ELRS Boxer. Should I just go ahead and use them? Yeah, I mean, the old school Free Sky stuff, it totally works. Like, yes, there's 10 milliseconds more latency. Yes, there's significantly less range, but like for flying in the house, outside the house, it's not bad at all. It's totally flyable. One of the really nice things about using ancient transmitters is that Free Sky is on here forever. So yeah, that's one of the few things good about running the old transmitters, but hey, yeah, man, use them. They'll totally work. They will hone your skills almost as good as, I mean, trying to think if it's, you'll be flying with more latency, so you'll have to work a little bit harder, but in reality, like, you'll just crash more. What I was going to say is it'll be like swinging with a weighted bat because it won't be as good, but I don't necessarily think so. You'll technically have to work harder because you'll have to be quicker, but that you'll just crash more. That's just going to cause you to crash more. So, yeah, no. Curtis Hayes says, Render, I've had people contact me via DM about how CiottiFPV is alienating them by calling people Nazis that voted for one of the president's candidates. Can't believe he's bringing politics into this. Look, man, I can do what I want. This is my fucking live stream. And a person went on live TV and said, I will make it so that you don't have to vote anymore. That is unacceptable, let alone the thousands of other things that the piece of shit has done that are completely unreasonable. And so, yes, I'm going to call him a Nazi. I will forever call him a Nazi because he is a Nazi. Sorry, if you don't like that, then that's your issue, not mine. Not liking someone calling a Nazi is your problem, not mine. So get away from the Nazi. Stop being pro-Nazi. Like, it's really important, okay? Ask anybody that... Never mind. Never mind. But, yeah. I will bring politics into this live stream when I fucking damn well please, because this is mine. This is not your guys. You can give me feedback all you want, but this is bigger than this live stream. Like, us electing that person will destroy all of our ways of life and probably plunge this country into literal fascism. And that's not okay. All right, so I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck how many people I lose because I'm calling a Nazi a Nazi. Straight up. There are things that are more important than subscriber counts, and one of them is us not putting a Nazi in charge of America again. Like, did we honestly not learn the first time? Jesus Christ. Come on. Chick with a Stick says, your hair makes me eggplant. Thank you very much. Striker says, I said something earlier about the spacing between PI gain and D gain. That was the thing. Yeah, like 0.2 to 0.3 is a good... It's kind of salt to taste. I like a lot of D gain. It makes the quad feel very damped, but that's kind of what D stands for. It gives the you know, I once heard it explained as it makes the quad fly like it's underwater. And what's funny is somebody was saying that like in a bad way about D-gain. That's actually the thing that I like most about what extra D-gain flies like. Also, D-gain is what handles prop wash and bounce back and those little like judders that you'll get every once in a while when you stab the throttle. And so, yeah, pushing the D-gain up 0.3 higher than everything else on the sliders, it just works really, really well. It makes it attack those bad behaviors more, and it also makes the flight footage just kind of look more buttery. So, yeah. Striker also says, I wanted to know about the tuning thing because my 802 25,000 finally got here and I'm finally in the air again. Hell yeah, man. Very cool. Curtis Hayes says, I've looked everywhere for Mobula 8 stack screws. Even TinyWhoops said they don't know what they use. Do you know where to find some? Race Day Quads used to have them, but I think I remember them going out of stock. And they weren't under Mobula 8. They were under Mobula 7, I want to say. Yeah, there it is. So I think this is what you're talking about. So it doesn't look like it. Well, here's how you can tell, right? So these posts are extra long on this frame, and so the screws are extra long to meet up with those. But yeah, these do not look longer, but they do. Look at the blank area here. This threaded area is the normal screw length, but then they also have this blanked out area. So yeah, these are the longer screws here, and it looks like they are in stock. $1.99 for you. At some point I bought a few extra packs of these so that if you guys needed them, I could send them to you, but I think I've sent them all out by now. Striker says, I don't hate the Meteor75 Pro as much as I thought I would, but once I get the 75mm frame in, I'm going to go crazy. Very cool. Scrolling back up. Striker says, I'm surprised the 5-amp can handle those 45mm tri-blades on the 1102s. Do you think it'd be better on a 10-amp or 12-amp? Yeah, for sure. We saw that in the testing. Well, we saw it with a 2G4. I have not. We can test it. Yeah, we can test it. Let's test. I think we can see it. I think we'll be able to see the RPM come down the second that I spin the motor up. What were we doing the testing with? We were doing it with the Gem Fan props, right? All right, so in. All right, so we're going to test this on motor 1, and I'm going to put it onto the exact same prop that we were testing. Oh, what am I doing? It's a 1.5. There we go. All right, so let's see. Let me get the power supply set up back together here. Hang on. I'm actually super interested in this. Sorry to like derail the live stream, but I'm actually really, really interested if there's any difference between the 2G4 and the BetaFPV 5-amp. So I'm setting the power supply on 4 amps, just like I did last time. Let me just make sure that the leads aren't touching each other. Okay. All right, 4 amps of output. Hook this up. We're going to go to the motors tab, wang it up to 100%, and then we'll look. We got to look really quickly at whether or not the RPMs shoot up and then come down. That was what was happening on this same set of motors with the 1610 biblade. Let's do it. Hey, there's Betaflight. Betaflight. All right. Motors tab. Let's get this plugged in. All right, so this is the exact same scenario as we had before. Fire up motor 1, and then we're going to take a look at the RPMs. So you're looking right here, guys. You're looking for this number to go up and then come back down. Hopefully it... Well, we'll see. Let me make sure that this thing is spinning properly first. It is indeed. All right, so here we go. Nah, look at that. It's staying up at 53,000. Let's try it again. Yep, it stays up at 53. That's pretty cool. Let me see how that compares to the sheet. On the sheet with this same propeller, BetaFPV 1102 22,000. Look at that, 52,000. So the 2G4 could only spin this propeller up to 52,000. On the BetaFPV AIO, it spins it up to 53, but more importantly, it holds it there. It spins it up to 53 and then it stays there. So either the 2G4 I was using... Wait a second. No. The 52,000 would have been from the X12. I think I would have retested on the X12. So, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't expect that. I would assume that they all use the same FETs, but maybe not. I mean, who's to say? Let me look. I don't really know. I don't know the different chips well enough to know. Well, no, that's pretty obvious. Here, hold on. Let me see. Maybe there's writing on the FETs that I can read. Oh, there is. Hey, somebody type this into chat for me. 3AAA 33W. 3AAA 33W. Is that a 3? That's a 3. Oh, no, that's E. EEW. EEW. Yeah. 3AAA EEW. That's on the BetaFPV one. Here's the 2G4. I'll be damned, they are different. EEW ORAA. Holy shit. Okay. Why would they be using different FETs? EEW ORAA. Yeah. Huh. I won't be able to see the... Well, I might be able to see... Hold on, let me see what FETs the X12 uses. Wow, those are going to be totally different. Those are going to be totally different. Because they're 12 amp. But, just for the sake of looking... this is the... Oh, wait a second. What is this, the X12? No, this is another 2G4. This 2G4 has FETs that say EEW OXA. Is that another A? Hard to see. EEW... Yeah, 2 A's. OXAA. What the hell? Why do these all have different fucking numbers on them? Here's the X12. X12 FETs say... Where the hell are the X12's FETs? Wow, the X12 FETs are way bigger. And they've got all kinds of shit stamped on them. Z322, WAAA, W25A. Yeah, wow, they are like triple the size. That's incredible. No wonder the X12 is oversized. Those are giant FETs. Yeah, that's got to be them. There's no FETs on the top. Interesting. Yeah, completely different FETs on each one of these. I didn't expect that. But that's really good news that the BetaFPV AIO is able to hold that RPM steady. That would make sense because this thing makes really good power. And like, I feel like when I had these big ass motors on the 2G4, it did not feel as good as this. So that's pretty cool. Damn, why are there so many different FETs on there? That's, I didn't expect that. Interesting. That makes testing this stuff that much more impossible. Great. Where are we at in Chad here? Striker says, no, we got that. Monkey D. Cluffy says, I agree with Ciotti. Johnny then says, can we get a rant about how dance has been instead of politics? It's been really, really good. Yeah, if you want, look, first off, if you're single, look, men, if you are single, get your fucking ass to dance classes. You will meet very cool women there. Like women that are willing to move their bodies and dance with like weird dudes, and like it's a really good spot to meet women. I wish back in my single days I'd known this one simple thing that could make meeting women a lot easier. It's yeah, it's way better than like going to a bar. Yeah, it's a way better. It's a great way of meeting women. It's also a great way of meeting other people that are willing to like leave the house and do shit. I've met some really, really, really cool people in this world over the last like 4 or 5 months. You will start moving your body, which is awesome for folks that don't have like an established workout routine. So that's huge. Like it forces you, and you'll get tired, and you'll get slightly better shape, and it might even become like the thing that makes you want to work out a little bit. Because, like, I don't know, for me, it's always that, like, the times in my life that I've been in good shape, it's because I've had a thing that I've enjoyed doing that either forces me to move my body, or I want to do a better job at it, so I want to get my body to work better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't just work out for the sake of working out. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate every second of working out. And so there has to be like a clearly defined goal. Like, I have to be doing it so that I get better at this other thing that I'm, doing that I enjoy. If you have a partner, dance is such, it is like, you're going to learn how to talk to the other person, like with your body language and with like, without words. And you're going to look into their eyes, and you're going to laugh, and you're going to make mistakes together, and it's going to be difficult. And like, some stuff is going to be really hard for your partner. Some stuff is going to be really hard for you, and like, you're going to be there for them when they're fucking up, and they're going to be there for you when you can't get it right. And like, it's, you see people dance in everywhere, right? All over TV and movies and everything. And like, I just didn't realize and you think it's just like a physical thing. It's just like, oh yeah, you just have to move your body around that way. It's not. Like, it is very mental. And like, there are like all these things that your body can do that like you haven't told it to do. And like, you'll start to do that stuff, and you'll be like, wow, that's pretty rad. And then like, there's these muscles that you haven't turned on in forever, and they'll be sore. And then it's just like, oh, well, that's cool too. It's really, really, really cool. From like a self-confidence perspective, it's mind-blowing. like, how often are you like in this awkward, like, whatever, maybe there's music on, maybe you're whatever, just hanging out at somebody's place, maybe there's not music on, and you just fucking feel awkward just standing there in your own body. Well, guess what? Dancers don't feel awkward standing in their own body. Like, a lot of what you're doing to learn how to dance is just becoming more comfortable in this fucking meat sack that you walk around in every day, right? So, like, from this confidence piece, it's mega. And like, if you're in a room of people and there's a person in that room that is like good at dancing, that's one of the coolest people in that room, regardless. And so, I don't know, I want to be the coolest person in the room for a change. I'm sick of being the fucking nerd in the room. I'm sick of feeling like the least cool person in every single room that I go into. So, you know, I don't know. It's pretty cool. I've for forever, when there would be like, look, I've been a musician forever, so like I've always felt music very deeply, and like, if you put some drums in front of me, I'm totally comfortable, and I'm like I'm like on, and I'm in the moment, and I'm living my best life. You take those fucking drums away from me, and it was always like, God forbid there's other people dancing. Then it's just like, oh, I look so dumb. And yeah, this goes ahead and takes care of that. So I don't know, if you connect with any of that stuff, just go do it. Look, man, there are things in life that are so much harder than learning to dance. It ain't easy though. You're gonna feel like an asshole, but man, is it a good chance to force yourself out of your comfort zone and do something difficult and move your fucking self around and meet other people that are that. Like, look, you go to a beginner dance class, everybody there is a beginner. Everybody there sucks as bad as you do. And that's awesome. It's a bunch of people that are like willing to push themselves and like want to learn this thing. And like, that is cool. You are surrounded with your people today in this moment. Like, those other people walked out the door to go to that dance class today, and you're now there with them. Like, that's a bond that you will have with those people forever. And it's rad. You guys will dig it. The one of the hardest parts about dance is walking out the door to go to your first actual lesson. Once you've done that, it's like, well, fuck it, I'll just go to another one. I'm not going to waste the $10 or the $5 on this one. I might as well go to another one. And then it's easy because, like, you learn a lot. Like, doing, like, 2 or 3 dance classes, you will learn enough to own a wedding. Next wedding you go to, you will fucking own. You will be, like, the second best dancer there. And you will be way more comfortable, and you will have way more fun because you won't be like, awkward, what do I do with my hand? Like, it's just such a basic thing that, like, everybody should kind of know, because, like, there's music all over the place, and there are opportunities to, like, actually dance all over the place that, like, you just stay the hell away from because, like, I don't know, I'm not good at it. And so, yeah, do it. Is that ranty enough? I wanted to really get into it, to really get some passion going for a good fuck off rant. So yeah, Johnny, then, if you have any interest whatsoever in dance, find a local beginners dance class. Doesn't matter what it is. Tango, salsa, West Coast swing, East Coast swing, line dancing, it doesn't matter. Go to a beginner dance class local to you, and you might really dig it. Worst case scenario, you moved your body around, you got a little bit of exercise, you met some cool people that were super uncomfortable as well, and, you know, you being super uncomfortable made them a little bit more comfortable. There's nothing bad about going and checking it out. Go to a second one, go to a third one. I've definitely found that, like, you learn a ton at the first one, you learn a ton at the second one. The third one that you go to, you'll actually start to feel like you're kind of dancing. The first couple that you go to, you're just doing the movements with your meat sack it's not any of this, but like you can only see my upper half. You're putting your feet where the instructor has told you. If it's a couples dance class, you're interfacing with the other person the way that the instructor showed you how to. Put your hand here, put your hand in their hand. And so like the first couple, you're just like knocking out these really basic things. By the third one, you will be so much better because you've done that simple little like couple of hours of groundwork, and then you can actually start to feel like you're doing something, and you'll actually like start feeling like there's some progress, and that's when it'll start to get kind of fun. But yeah, don't just do one. Do at least 2 or 3, because the first one is rough for sure. But if you find a class with like lots of beginners and a good instructor, it's something that you might dig, and might get you laid. So do it, because you want that. JP Spin says, now I want a Ciotti wig to troll. What's that mean? Curtis Hayes says, exactly what I needed. Thank you. You're certainly welcome. Striker says, 1S 5 amp cross AIO testing would go hard. I might, if given the opportunity, I will certainly fire up a couple of motors with my little setup on the BetaFPV 5 amp. The fact that we got 1,000 extra RPM over the X12, it's interesting. Not interesting enough to like drop everything and go bananas, but like next time perfect example for you. Perfect example. I've got a Meteor75 Pro here that is going to get torn apart. And so when I tear this apart and take the motors off of it, I will slam 4 702s on here, and we'll put the 1210 props on it, and we'll fire it up in Betaflight and see how the numbers line up with the 2G4 that we were testing. So yeah, that's coming up. Don't think I'm gonna do this with every AIO though, for the record. But I look, the reason I was willing to go down the spreadsheet rabbit hole with this is that I knew good and goddamn I didn't want to do this. This is torture for me. But I knew that having this data would benefit me and you guys. Like I knew that having this data in that you can kind of do it's going to be hard to nail this exact voltage without an adjustable power supply, but you can technically do this testing with batteries if you get the voltage just right on the battery and you get the battery to sag down with the 1210 prop to 3.8 volts. That's really what it's going to be about. But that's not all that difficult. You fire the motor up with the prop on in Betaflight, and right above the RPM number is the voltage number. So you'll just have to do a little bit of screwing around to figure out what you need to do to get the battery to sag down to 3.8 volts when you read that RPM. My guess is you'll want a battery that's at like 4.1 volts would be my guess. I think if you've got, and you can screw around with different battery sizes, right? Like a 450 mAh battery is going to be easier, and it's going to stay at 3.8 volts for longer than a little 300, right? A little 300, you're going to test like 1 or 2 motors, and then this little battery is going to be dropping down to like 3.75, 3.7 volts, and that's not enough. That's going to throw off the results. And so, yeah, the bigger the BT 2.0 battery that you've got, the better. And you can kind of see how your shit stacks up against this. I have put this here. I'm going to put this link in chat. There's a link to this motor torque production spreadsheet. I got to call this spreadsheet something different. I'm going to call this spreadsheet TinyWhoop RPM testing. That makes a little bit more sense. TinyWhoop RPM testing. Yeah, I think it's about right. Justmo says, getting a Walksnail VRX this week. Can you recommend literally any bind and fly Walksnail CineWhoop that's capable of carrying a GoPro 11 Mini? Can you recommend any? Well, isn't there something where there are no more Walksnail bind and flies? Didn't Walksnail stop sending their stuff to companies to put them into bind and flies? Just Mo, here's the deal. If I make a suggestion based on the tiny little bit, practically no information that you've given me here, all that recommendation is going to be is me telling you like what I like. And you're different. You're a different person. You're a different pilot. You have different specs. I don't know if you're flying around people. I don't know what kind of runtime you need. There are just so many questions that I would need to really give you a recommendation. Right now, all I can say is to look at what's available. There's probably not going to be a whole hell of a lot available. And then once you know what's available that is bind and fly, has Walksnail, and you're going to be definitely, well, I mean, not definitely, but I don't know if you're looking for something that's 2.5 inch, 3.5 inch, 3 inch, whatever. But yeah, when you find those, then you can search the name of that bind and fly here on YouTube, and there will be a bunch of people, a bunch of reviewers that have been, that have reviewed them. Look for reviewers that fly them in their review. And in my opinion, try to find a reviewer that when they're flying it, they're better than you are. I always want, you know, if I'm going to take somebody at somebody's recommendation, somebody, you know, telling me about what it flies like, if they're not a very good pilot, I really question like what those words mean. Like look, the placebo is really strong. And so in order to get around the placebo, you have to be really good. And you have to be like better than you would think to be able to like notice the subtleties and actually be able to put that placebo aside and really tell what's going on with the rig. And so, yeah, for me, look for a reviewer that's like a properly good pilot. And yeah, there you go. Alan Lohman with a $20 super generous super chat, but then he retracted his comment. And I don't have a way of undoing that. That's a shame. Alan, thank you so much. Alan, I'm going to assume that your comment was, yo, Ciotti, this is for the HDLRC Might Not Catch Fire Fund. So I'm going to put it on in here. Thank you so much, dude. Very, very generous of you. There we go. HDLRC Spectre AIO. We're on our way. Thank you, Alan. Super generous. Kinetic says, is the 2G4 without the MPU 6000 still good? Yep, it sure is. Just bunch of retracted messages here. I can see these, though. Oh, wait, no, I can't. I guess I can't retract them. That's what it is. When you guys retract your comments, I can't see them. It's when other moderators hide your comments that I can unhide them. Zoe101 says, what FETs do the BetaFPV Air AIOs use? That is a good question. I'm kind of curious myself. And it's not all that difficult to take a look. Let's see. Ah, shit. I don't have to do that. I didn't have to do that. All I had to do was this. It's in here, isn't it? Yep, there it is. All right, let's take a look. Beta75 Air uses another different yet again. EEW 4D like David, A like Apple, A like Apple. Ernie, Wisconsin 4 Delta Alpha. Why does every single AIO have different numbers stamped on the FETs? That's wild. Has anybody been Googling these numbers as I've been telling them to you? These should come up. Like, if you put FET and then... Fine, I'll do it. EEW 4DAA. EEW. Look. EEW 4DAA. FET. It'll come up. Yeah, see, there you go. Reddit. Of course, Reddit. But yeah, NASA. What? No, that's not it. Oh, that's not actually it. But sometimes it'll come up. I guess this one's not coming up. If you tried hard enough. No. I did not mean feet. Usually it'll come up. Sometimes it won't, apparently. Poor little Meteor75 Air. Got all wet from the dog bowl and committed suicide. Poor little fella. Low Roll and Groove. Now that's a YouTube name. Says the 2G4 that I'm working with right now has EEW2 PAA. Not sure what the different letter means. Me either. Let's Google that real quick. EEW PAA FET. Lavalier microphone set. What if we just search for EEW FET? Here we go. Oh, there's that Reddit post again. But this is kind of getting us closer, maybe. I don't know. If you're so inclined, you can go deep, pretty deep down that rabbit hole, I'll bet. But I ain't in. I ain't into it. Sleepy CBR says I super chatted $20 for the HGLRC fund, but I posted it under my human name, so I removed it. Oh, thank you very much for that, Sleepy CBR. I didn't realize that was you. Oh, yes, I did. 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 Thank you so much, homie. Very cool of you. I can't believe I guessed it right. I can. Wipe. Hands fucking down. Hands down. The best YouTube name I've seen. Maybe this year. Maybe this fucking year. Definitely this month. White Powder X. White POWDE. Capital R. Lowercase x. That's awesome. White Powder says, you've always been the coolest guy in the room since I've known you. Air quotes. Thank you, dude. Justmo says, I've been watching the Planet of the Apes series for the past 5 hours. Thank God CiottiFPV went live, or I would have unalived myself genuinely in game. Cole Powers says, excellent fuck off rant, top notch. Thank you, dude. Chronic Nugget says, I'm still trying to figure out why my battery voltage fluctuates so much. At constant throttle, the amp draw can change as much as 3 amps, and my voltage changes constantly as much as 0.5 volts. At constant throttle, the only thing... let me take a guess, Chronic Nugget. You're flying outside when that's happening, aren't you? Let me take another guess. You live somewhere that's windy, don't you? I could be totally off, but you guys see what I'm getting at here. The PID loop is constantly doing its thing. 4,000 or 8,000 or 3,000 times a second. The gyro is sending data into the PID loop, and then the PID loop is figuring shit out to try to fix any little weird movements that are happening from the wind hitting the quad. TinyWhoops, with these big ducts on them, they're going to get affected quite a bit. So a TinyWhoop just cruising along, if you're outside, I can totally see the amps and the voltage moving all around, because you've got a terrible... Look how bad this aerodynamic situation is, right? Like, imagine this, and then there's like wind coming in from the side, from the front, from the left, from the right. If that's happening inside your house... and you don't have like some weird big vent system in the house that's creating a bunch of moving air, then I would be a little bit more concerned. It's probably still the PID loop though. If it's doing it in the house, so turn your turn your HVAC system off and then fly around the house and see if you can get it to do it or not do it. If the problem goes away, there you go. If it's still doing it, the only thing that I can think is that your PID tune is like at the razor's edge, and like anything is causing it to happen. Even at like a constant throttle, like even at a constant throttle, there's going to be a little bit of variation. And if it just happens to like, if the RPMs just happen to come up a little bit to where there's some weird resonant frequency, that'll then feed into the PID loop, and then that'll make it come, maybe like do that and ramp up the motors a little bit and then bring the motors back down. So yeah, I just hit you with a bunch of stuff. Hopefully some of that makes sense. But yeah, I bet you're flying outside when that's happening. That's going to be my guess. Kevin Sumner says 2 weeks to Castle Crash. Oh my God, is it really only 2 weeks? Jesus. There you go, friends. Get your tickets before they're gone. Kevin, can you drop the link to the website in the chat? Chronic Nugget says, I'm flying outside. I told you, but it's not super windy around me. Doesn't matter. If there's any wind and if it's a TinyWhoop, that is your problem, I'll bet. It doesn't happen to my other quads. Oh, okay. It doesn't happen to my other quads, which is why it puzzles me so much. It's a... okay. It's a 3-inch running those 1506s. All right, well, look. Those 1506s are super notchy. And that's going to put a bunch of vibrations into the frame. Here's how you troubleshoot this, Chronic. Take your master multiplier, wherever it is, and move it. If it's at 1.0, move your master multiplier to 0.5. If it's at 1.5, move it to 1.0. Move your master multiplier down a shitload. And then go fly around and see if it changes anything. Alternatively, take your filter sliders and move them. If your filters are really aggressive, make them a lot less aggressive. If your filters are not very aggressive, make them much more aggressive. Move them a bunch in one direction or the other and see if that changes the behavior. By making the PID loop more or less active and making the filters more aggressive or less aggressive, we're going to start to figure out what the hell's going on. My guess is that those 1506s are so notchy and vibratey that they're putting a bunch of vibes into that build. And that's just making the PID loop like super nervous. And that those vibrations are happening all the time because the motor is always on. I bet you if you went to a different motor, the problem would go away. I had a really tough time with those 1506s. They are a super aggressive, like razor's edge kind of motor. And I think that's what you got going on there. Chronic Nugget says, I haven't really messed with the tune much, so it's still stock. I'll play with it, though. That's what she said. They make so much power versus the 1804s. I might motor limit them. Motor limiting them might help, actually, because it'll take the top amount of power out of the PID loop. So, in addition, try motor limiting them. Yeah, they make an absolutely absurd amount of power, to the point where like there aren't many batteries that can not melt in the face of those 1506s. These are RC and power 1506s that we're talking about. It's actually an old school motor that I wrote off a long time ago because of issues like this. But I am kind of sort of interested in look, they're a somewhat lightweight motor with a 3mm motor shaft and M5 prop mounting, and that is very rare and very interesting. So I'm and I haven't tested them in like 5 or 6 years probably, and so maybe now with RPM filtering, with the better dynamic filtering, with all the new shit in the new versions of Betaflight, maybe we can tame those motors down, but it's still going to be hard. Like they're still going to be a pain in the ass, those motors. I am caught up on chat, so we're going to talk about the Meteor75 Pro a bunch more. The flight footage that you watched at the beginning of this live stream was the 7th battery that I flew. I flew 2 batteries, 2 batteries, 2 batteries, one last battery. I think that's what I did. And I'm going to play some of that flight footage now for you. Oh man, these are all this. I changed from MP4 over to TS for transport stream, and I don't really like it much. The transport streams are nice because if you accidentally end the file, it doesn't grenade the entire file. But the transport streams kind of suck because I can't look at a preview. Yeah, the preview just shows only the audio, which is extra annoying. So I'm going to have to just count backwards here. So we've got 75 Pro and then 75. That's a garbage file because it's only 14 megs, so I can get rid of that one. 75 Pro, 75. That's a garbage file. Too small. This is another garbage file. Too small. Another garbage file. What the hell? There we go. There's a full file. So 75 Pro, 75, 75. What's this going to be? 141 megs. What the hell? What's a 141 meg flight file? 50 seconds? Why did it stop? Oh, I brought it back inside. Okay, so that's garbage. 63, how big are you? 584, there we go. So this is probably, let me open this one up. Yeah, okay, so here's the, I guess I didn't fly 2 batteries on the 75s. I must have just flown 1. All right, so there's this, then there's it. Yeah, there we go, okay. All right, so here you go. So this is the first or second battery that I flew on the 75 Pro. This is a good one. This is how you should start. This is how you should always start your day. Ready? You wake up, you go outside, and you're like, all right, cool, I'm going to fly. This is going to be a great day. Here we go. All right, taking off. Contact. And all right. That's always how you want to start. I got it out, though. No, I didn't. So here you go. Here is the Meteor75 Pro bind and fly from BetaFPV. This is what you're going to get in terms of camera quality, VTX power. I think I had this down on maybe 100 milliwatts. It's okay. BetaFPV VTXs are never great. They're never like the absolute worst, but they're also never all that great. So in terms of like an upgrade path for this bind and fly, one of the things I would do pretty early on would be to swap it to a different VTX setup. That is probably going to mean that you need... no, you won't need to change the canopy. You can reuse the canopy. You could technically just swap the VTX. It's going to be kind of annoying because the camera cables on this camera are the stupid shitty ones with the PVC insulation. But you could do it. You could do it. I would recommend... I don't really love this camera either. If I was going to go through the pain in the butt of swapping the VTX on this thing, I would also take that as a chance to swap the canopy and the camera. Sketchy little crash there. Sketchy shit to do that up in the trees, but whatever. We got away with it. That could have very easily been the end of this 75 Pro. So yeah, that's one of the things that can definitely be improved about this. The camera's okay. The camera is not terrible. The VTX, I think, is the biggest weak point. So yeah, at some point maybe swap the VTX out. But I mean, look, this works. We're flying around the house. We're going up above the house. We're going up in the trees. When I went behind like 3 or 4 or 5 trees, it's the video started to get really bad. I don't know if that's in this file or not. We're looking at a 2-minute and 30-second runtime. I was nose down, charging around pretty good on this battery. The last battery that I flew, The runtime was a lot better. I wasn't being as aggressive. I wasn't covering as much ground. Basically, runtime comes down to how much ground you cover. If you're flying around really fast, covering a lot of ground, your runtime is going to come down significantly. This is that last battery that we watched at the intro, and we can see 3 minutes and 6 seconds. So I just wasn't jamming as much. I specifically for this last battery was like, all right, let me just chill out a little bit and not just like rail this thing back and forth across the yard at full speed over and over and over again, because that's what really chews up batteries. So yeah, but we're still moving around, right? Like I'm weaving in and out of trees and shit, but I'm doing more. I'm just flying slower, really. If you fly fast, it eats the battery. If you fly slower, it's a lot less hard on the battery. Also, big elevation changes like this, taking the amount of energy to get 30, 40, 50 feet up, whatever it is, to get to the tops of these trees, that chews up a bunch of power. But once I got up there, I was just kind of chilling out. I wasn't, covering tons of ground at full speed. And now even when I'm cruising a little bit slower on this battery. So there you go. There's a couple of flight files from the 75 Pro. Here comes a couple of flights on 75 millimeter rigs that I have custom built. And I'm going to get you some weights here in a second. I don't know if this is the 703 or the 803 rig, but I'll be able to tell you by the RPM that this thing shows when I disarm it. So when it disarms it, I'm going to try to take a look at the RPM that this thing is turning, and then I'll be able to tell you which rig this is. Let me get a couple of weights for you, because one of the things that you're going to notice is that these custom-built 75 millimeter rigs, the flight footage looks a little bit different, and it's mainly down to the weight. There's the big difference in weight between these rigs. So Meteor75 Pro bind and fly, 31.2 grams dry, no battery. 31.2. One or the other of these 75 millimeter rigs you're watching me fly right now is 22.4 grams, and the other one is 25 grams. Have I disarmed yet? So there you go. There's the VTX just kind of falling on its face, just back behind the house. The 2G4s do not get that bad back behind the house, not by a long shot. So yeah, there's the weakness of the BetaFPV external VTX. It's okay, it totally works. It's just not great. So there was a disarm. Let's see what the RPM is. Come on, right over here and there. So 40,000 RPM. That is almost certainly the 703 rig. So what you're looking at right now is probably this rig that weighs 22.4 grams. So 22.4 grams versus 31.2. Massive difference in weight. Massive difference in weight. But this guy has motors and props that are big and pitchy enough that it can handle that weight. Does it feel drastically different flying it? Absolutely. That extra weight makes it slide a bunch more. When you try to change direction, it won't want to. It'll want to carry its momentum more. Just like in general, when you move the sticks around, the heavier rig is going to be a little bit slower to respond. So it is flying a heavy rig in every sense of the word. These little 75s are going to be much better for like indoor and outdoor, much lighter. They'll break less EO shit. They're more reactive, which will basically you'll have quicker reaction times to trying to avoid shit inside the house. So yeah, here's a little bit more. So what you're looking at is a Mobula 7, Happy Model Mobula 7 1S ELRS with a motor swap, also with BT 2.0 added in. And an ORT antenna. A little bit of a better antenna here. But yeah, these are VCI 0703 23,500 kV motors with, here's the other big difference, with the HQ 1.6 inch ultralight biblades. The Meteor75 Pro is on HQ 45mm tri-blades. These are 1102 22,000 kV motors. Big ass motor, so give it a big ass propeller. These are 0703 23,500 kV motors. So much less stator volume, but a little bit higher of a kV, so the biblades. Also, there is not, I wish there was, but there is not a tri-blade version of this HQ 1.6-inch ultralight biblade. So if there was, I'd probably have that on here. I would definitely have it on this other rig that we're going to take a look at. Flight time, 3 minutes and 20 seconds coming up here. Battery is at like a little bit below 3.5. So you're going to get a little bit more runtime with these rigs. Go figure, they're lighter weight. And so, yeah, there you go. Hey, this rig will carry around a 550 mAh battery, though. With how fat and heavy it is, you can put a bigger battery on it. These 75s, yeah, they'll fly with the 550, but the extra weight you can really feel. If you want to screw around with bigger and smaller batteries, 650, 550, 450, this will do it. More power, more weight, so the extra weight of a battery is not as much of a ding. These guys that are lighter, they're more sensitive to the weight of the battery changing, but you don't need to run the bigger batteries. You can get over 3 minutes on a 450 on these guys. So this next flight file is almost certainly going to be the 0803, the VCI 0803 rig. Let's take a look. So let me go back here and see if yesterday me remembered to give it a good full throttle blast and then land it so I can look at the RPM. Nope. Yesterday me did not remember that. I can absolutely tell you that this is the 0803 rig. So now you're getting to see really the highest level of response time and power and all the good stuff that I've been able to get from these 75mm rigs. There you go. 44,000 RPM on that. Yeah, so significantly higher. And that's, God knows if there's a full throttle blast in there to really let the motors wind up. So yeah, what we're flying now, what you're looking at now is a 25 gram same build, Mobula 7 1S ELRS with a motor swap and BT 2.0. Very simple, also with an ORT antenna. And so yeah, I'll let this file play and then we will go back and I'll put on the Meteor75 Pro file last. Look at that. Look at it. Just, oh man, this thing flies so good on these 0802. This analog rig flies so good on these 0802.8 27,000 kV motors. It's really ridiculous. It's a shame that the Walksnail rig, that the runtime becomes such a problem, because these motors work so. These are the best motors on the Walksnail 1S builds, but a minute and 50 second of runtime and like ruined 450 mAh batteries, I can't sign up for that. And I don't want to sign you guys up for that either. That's a bit much. So yeah. Here's me struggling. Eventually we'll figure it out. So yeah, this is the rig where motor number 3, the FETs are starting to die on channel 3. And so that's what you saw me struggling to get off the ground there. But showing you there some like really big, gentle movements. Man, I just ran it right into the house. There I just saw 46,000 RPM. So yeah, these are the 0803s. Yeah, even though this is lighter, you can still do those like big, gentle movements and whatnot. And again, these rigs are much lighter. You could get away with flying them inside the house. I'm just noticing there's a bunch of canopy in view here on the left. What the hell is that about? Why is that? Oh shit, the camera is not attached to anything. How the hell did that happen? What happened here? Oh, it fell. Wow, it fell out of the screw. Can't say I've ever seen that before. Well, that'll be a super easy fix. There you guys go. Yeah, the camera backed out. So I was flying this thing with the camera like relatively sideways. which makes it way harder to fly, actually. If you've ever flown, well, shit, if you've ever flown a fractal frame, you'll know good and well how hard it is to fly with a camera that's sitting sideways, because their camera mount doesn't like locate the camera in any meaningful way, and so you pretty much always fly with a camera that's not straight. All right, so hang on, I gotta get this, move up a little bit, get into there. I mean, this should be an easy fix, but I do need to get this to sit. I need the camera to move just right so that the screw drops into the little piece. Every single person with a Mobula right now that's taking the canopy apart is going, oh my god, that's the most annoying part. I just got it. Well, shit. This'll be a lot better to fly now. My god. Why is that not? It doesn't look like it's threading in there. Pirate streams for an hour. Well, there's something going on there. That's just going to pop right out again, isn't it? I'm going to have to pull that apart. There's something not happy about this. I think maybe the little piece on the back has the little piece that you screw down to the back of the camera. I think it might be stripped. I gotta replace my. Sometimes I'll run the same thing forever, and one day I'll realize, like, I've run like 1,000 batteries through this camera mount. No wonder why it's stripped out as hell. Let's take a look at Betaflight and see what I did with. I actually don't. I don't remember what the stock tune was, but I can show you where my tune's at, and then you can probably get yours pretty much exactly where I'm at. Again, the one modification I've done is switch the propellers over. With the GemFan 45mm propellers, you might not be able to get the tune as aggressive as what you're about to see. I've found that these HQ ultralight props are really, really well balanced. I'm really impressed by them. They're also lighter weight, so you're going to get better response time, better PID loop performance, and it's just going to feel a lot crisper in the air. So in PID tuning, as you can see, I've gone pretty aggressive, which is why having these really well balanced propellers is awesome. So damping D-gain slider, I've got maxed all the way up at 2.0. Tracking P&I gain slider, I've got sort of maxed for me. I like this ratio. I like this ratio where the D-gain is 0.3 on the sliders ahead of the P&I gains. So 1.7 there. Stick response, feed forward gains, don't use my values. Use your own. If you want better stick response, move this up. If you want smoother flight footage, move this down. Dynamic damping, D-max, I have all the way up at 1.2. That's where I like it. Drift wobble, I-gain slider down at 0.8. It's really hard to tell if the I-gain is set wrong anyway. Just leave it at 0.8 in my opinion. Or leave it at 1.0, it's fine. Pitch damping and pitch tracking, as usual, I've moved them up to 1.1. The battery is spread more across the pitch axis than the roll axis. So give the pitch axis a little bit more authority because it has to move that weight more than the roll axis does. And then the master multiplier, I have all the way up at 1.4. You can see the PID gains are fucking sky high. 107, 123, I gains up in the 150s, 170s, regular D gains 80 and 100, D max up at 120, 150. So yeah, big rig, big PID gains a lot of times. This is, most of my 75mm rigs are pushed this far because the motor, prop, all up weight, battery situation on 75mm rigs is not great. It is not nearly as locked in as 65mm rigs. And so in order to get the response time, in order to get the just the flight feel out of 75 millimeter rigs, this is where my PIDs end up. I just keep pushing them farther and farther and farther and farther and farther. And like, it's nice that they can handle that, but I do wish that we could really, and we are, but I wish that we would nail down the perfect motor for a 75 millimeter rig a little bit faster than we have been. I think I know what it is. I think it's an 803, but unfortunately there aren't many of those in existence right now. So yeah, this is where I've got that set. The rest of this stuff is just like kind of personal preference. I've got a little bit of throttle expo, but not much. And then filter settings are kind of specific because these BetaFPV 5 amp cross looking AIOs have BMI 270s in them, and the BMI 270 is a pretty specific kind of gyro. This filtering layout was given to me by Brandon's Baked Beans. He does tons of work with black box logs and is just awesome. In terms of like a smart person, he charges $1 a minute, which is incredibly reasonable for like full-blown black box tuning. So if you have an unruly rig or if you just want to get your tune absolutely perfect, Brandon is your guy. And yeah, he's done tons of work. He's a fucking genius level tuner. And so yeah, every single BMI 270 rig that he runs, he uses a similar, almost identical filtering setup to this. And basically what you do is you go into the presets and you just search for clean, and then you run, your baseline is the clean build with RPM filtering or without. It depends on your rig. In this case, with RPM filtering. So this is the baseline, the clean filter settings from Betaflight. And then you come in here to filter settings, and you turn the gyro slider off for the gyro filter multiplier. You turn off gyro low pass 1, you turn on gyro low pass 2. You put this static cutoff frequency really low at 135, but then you change the filter to PT2. You then come down to the gyro RPM filter and you bring the harmonics down to 1, and then you can pretty much leave everything else alone. If you want to move the D-term filter slider up a little bit, you can. But don't go too crazy with it because the BMI 270 gyro is really sensitive. You're going to save this, then you're going to come into the CLI, and you need to do a little something. And I'm going to drop it into the chat with what you need to do. This is just changing the internal hardware filtering. I have to unplug this. It's getting really hot. It changes the internal hardware filtering on the BMI 270 gyro. And it's the reason that you've put that low pass 2 at such a low cutoff frequency. What you're basically doing is you're allowing Betaflight's gyro filtering to do the job that the gyro's hardware filtering would normally do, because Betaflight does a better job than the BMI 270's built-in hardware filtering does. And that's it. That's the filtering. That has worked extremely well. In fairness, the stone stock filtering worked totally fine on this thing. So you really don't need to go down the rabbit hole. But if you want to, there you go. That's how you do it. That's how to get it tuned exactly the way this one is, which is what you were watching in the flight footage in the beginning of the stream and then a couple of minutes ago. It's easy to tell if it's flown through this, because you can see the blue ducts in the bottom of the screen. So if you look back at this stream and you're wondering which rig this is, if you see blue, it's this one. If you see gray, if it's one of these two Mobula 7 based builds. The bigger Meteor75 Pro frame, I don't like. It is extremely heavy, and it is also physically bigger. The guards are physically farther out, and so you get more duct in view. You have to basically, when you buy this as a bind and fly, the up tilt is set. It's a static up tilt. It looks to be about 20 degrees, which is a lot. Flying this in the house is a little challenging because you're like looking up like this. Inside the house, you want like 5 degrees or 10 degrees of up tilt so that you can slow down and fly slowly and whatnot. This is challenging. Even though it's got like 20 degrees of up tilt, there's still a bunch of duct in view, which I don't like. I really do not like the way that it looks. A tiny little bit of like clear or smoke crotch gray on the bottom is okay, but this has a bunch of duct in view. I would definitely swap this out to the black version of this frame. That would be like the first thing I did if I was going to continue to fly this. So yeah, that and the other thing, like I said, the 75 Pro frame is really heavy. It's pretty stout. It's a pretty stout frame, which is probably why we can get the PID so high. But yeah, it's I don't love this frame, if I'm honest. But it's your only option. If you want to do these bigger props, there are no other Whoop frames that'll spin the 45mm props. So kind of is what it is. These HQ props are really, really good. I also am going to try this on the bi-blades, but to be honest, I think that these HQ brand new ultralight 45mm tries are the way to go. The motors are some of my favorite TinyWhoops 75mm outdoor motors. These are the BetaFPV 1102 22,000 kV motors. They did great in our testing. They are relatively efficient. They make great power, especially when you put a great big propeller on them. This is a 45mm tri-blade, right? This is a lot of propeller, but this is a lot of motor. 1102 is a big stator. So yeah, these motors work really well with these props. The AIO is the old school, like they've put it in a million different quads. BetaFPV F4 cross style AIO. No VTX built in, but it does have ELRS built in. In fairness, there were two of these. One of them was, this one was new in the box. This one had been flown. The first battery that I flew on this thing, the AIO, literally lit on fire. So the old school BetaFPV Cross F4 is not the best AIO ever. It's certainly not the worst AIO either. It's an all-in-one that pretty much all the racers, I think, are still running. Maybe not. Maybe they've switched over to the 65 Air. I don't really pay attention to the Whoop racing scene, but this has been a very popular AIO for a long time. Yes, they fail sometimes, but it's not that bad. This is one of the best of the AIOs. So great that it has this AIO in it. The canopy, it's okay. It's a little heavy. The Mobula 6 canopy is really the sweet spot in my opinion. But this canopy is okay. Incidentally, this canopy will work. This is the only other canopy, poured molded canopy, that will work with the Walksnail lite, actually. So if you don't like the idea of having your Walksnail lite lens hanging out like this, this Meteor75 canopy is the other option. Be careful, there's two versions of this canopy. There's a version of this canopy that's really silly looking because it's designed to have like a fucking crown stuck into it, and this one is kind of designed like that anyway. But yeah, this canopy looks like this. The other one doesn't look like this, and this is the one that works with the Walksnail lite. So this canopy is okay. It gets a pass with me, but there aren't a lot of cameras that'll work with it. So be careful. The camera, I believe this is the BetaFPV CO2 camera. You guys were looking at it. You make your own judgment. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's terrible either. Analog looks like ass no matter what. So on one hand, who cares? On the other hand, I do think that the Runcam Nano 3s look better than this. This just looks like kind of grainy and noisy to me, which I don't really love. So I won't use these cameras on really anything, but they're okay. If you buy this as a bind and fly, this camera's fine. Fly the shit out of it. VTX is the weak point, for sure. That would be the thing that I would swap out. You can certainly try, the easy button is to swap the antenna out. Put a Singularity Ultra Short on this guy, and it'll work a lot better than the janky-ass whip antenna. You can also do one of these micro Vs, but the micro V is going to be really long. You're going to have to manage the length of that antenna. I don't have one on the desk, but yeah, the True RC Ultra Short, which is really just this short, it's just going to hang right out the back here, and it's arguably the best whoop antenna that there is. And so yeah, try that. Try a different antenna first. I think in the long term you might wind up swapping out the VTX with this. When you go to do that, just look up any racing 65mm build. They've all been using this AIO, and they've all been putting the VTXs right down below here. Below the AIO, in between the AIO and the frame, there's like this little channel that has nothing in it, and the little tiny VTXs fit perfectly in there. If you're a baller, the TBS Pro 32 Nano is the way to go. There's also the regular TBS Nano, tiny little VTX. That one's good as well. 50 milliwatts versus 400. The Pro 32 Nano has 400 milliwatts, so that'd be great for flying it outside. Or there's some other. There's some other tiny little VTXs that you could swap in here that would give you much better performance. Comes with BT 2.0, which is awesome. It's the straight plug. I would love it for to be the 180 plug, but this came out before the 180 plugs existed, so obviously it's not going to be it. And that's really it, man. I'm just so blown away at how good this thing flies. It's for railing around outside the house, it's awesome. And I don't even think they cost that much, do they? BetaFPV Meteor75 Pro, $109. What? Pyro drone and race day quad sell this for $110. That's awesome. I was thinking it would be like 150 because like Happy Model are the ones that make the super cheap stuff. But yeah, no, BetaFPV makes some cheap stuff. Yeah, man, at 110, look, for $110, you can fly this thing outside like you hate it. And if you lose it, really not the end of the world. You don't have any time tied up in the build. And like, if you do a custom build on one of these, you're going to spend $110. You're probably going to spend more than $110. So like, in terms of like something to fly outside hard, and like when you fly whoops outside, especially when you fly them around trees, there's a really good chance you're going to lose it forever. You put a whoop into the top of a tree, it's gone. It might get blown out by the wind someday, but for the most part, it's gone. And so, like, flying whoops outside is kind of sketchy in that respect. And so this makes an awful lot of sense. So that you lose it, whatever, $110, and none of my life spent doing a custom built was lost on that one-way whoop. You're going to lose one at some point, especially when you start flying harder and harder outside. Just be okay with that. Upgrading. This is also a great platform to upgrade from. You've got the AIO that I use on all of the Walksnail 1S builds, so that's awesome. You've got one of the best set of 75mm motors, the 1102 22,000s. You've got a canopy that you can use for a Walksnail build. I would never reuse this VTX. I would probably never reuse this camera. And I don't really like this frame. But it's a good day if you buy a bind and fly that has an AIO and motors that have any use moving forward. You know what I mean? And so from like a I can't help but upgrade every single thing that I buy standpoint, try to not upgrade this, because I think the value of this thing is that it doesn't need it. Like, maybe swap the antenna out, but then stop. You got $110 in it. If you lose it with no upgrades on it, you're going to be way happier than if you've swapped the motors or put your favorite colored canopy that you dyed or whatever, right? So yeah, I think one of the really nice things about this is to just buy it and fly it hard outside and just eventually lose it. If you lose it, that means you were taking chances, you were trying to get better at flying, you were having a really good time. You ever notice you're having the best time of your life right before you lose one? Because you're doing something sketchy usually, and like you're about to maybe pull it off. In the end, you didn't, but try it again. That's how you get good, yo. You got to break some eggs, my friends. So yeah, really, really impressive package for 110 bucks. Shit, these motors are $40, and this AIO is at least $40. So yeah, and you'll reuse those. I would not recommend this as a platform for a Walksnail build. This frame is so heavy that and I tried this, as a Walksnail build, it's just unreasonably heavy. This as an analog build is right at the limit. So yeah, I would not recommend a Walksnail build that has, although if you bought this and you decided that you wanted to do a 1S Walksnail build, you've got one of my favorite, if not maybe my favorite set of 1S motors. You've got the AIO that I use on all these Walksnail builds. So you're close. Swap the frame out, get in my opinion, Meteor75 Air frame, transfer the motors over, get your you can even use the canopy. I think you should get the Module 6 canopy, but you know, great basis for eventually doing a 1S Walksnail build. But you're gonna like flying this thing analog. It's a really good combo. I would definitely recommend that you swap the propellers over though. I built a lighter version of this at one point, analog with the Module 6 stuff, which is why it was lighter weight. And the biggest problem that I had is that the Gemfan tri-blade and bi-blade 45mm props, they were just not balanced enough for me to get a really rockin' PID tune. And also they're a heavier propeller. These brand new, there's a 2-blade and a 3-blade version, HQ ultralights, 45mm props. These are awesome. I'm gonna try this on the bi-blades tomorrow, but man, do I like it on these tri-blades. I can almost guarantee these tri-blades are ready to go. So there you go, friends. Meteor75 Pro. Most impressive. And that does not... I do not impress easily. Look at the box that it comes in. No one cares. Rightfully so. It comes with stuff. It comes with stupid things that you can clip down to the canopy. Don't do it. You know what it does come with? It's great. It comes with one of these things. Do you guys know what this is? This is a charger and a tester. Every live stream that I show this off, I get a comment of, holy shit, I have one of those and I didn't know it was a cell checker. They give you this as a charger, USB-C, and then 2 charging ports. But right there, that little bit of gray, it says test. And so if you take a battery while this is not plugged into USB-C and you plug in to the port that says test the batteries. Yo, Jesse's in the house. What's up, homie? Thanks for coming, brother. I was just singing I was just saying how I've been sleeping on the Meteor75 Pro. I'm really impressed by how good this thing flies out of the box. Most impressive. Let's fly and then sleep, my friends. Let's fly these 75s in the house. I'm gonna fly this thing in the house. This is where you'll really get to see how heavy this guy is. Hold on. I'm very behind on chat. Sorry, friends. CMYK says, you may have had this question before, but thoughts on the BetaFPV flat ELRS antennas? They've been tested previously. That BetaFPV put out an ELRS receiver with the flat antennas a long time ago, and it was awful. The flat antenna was terrible. The new Air 65, I don't know if that has the same receiver. I didn't fly that thing enough before I ruined it to check the ELRS range out. I would love to have flown it down the street, but I didn't. And so, yeah, I don't know. You're going to have to ask some other folks about it, but I'm sure some people have some strong opinions on Facebook about it. SOS Death Valley says, would it be good on 2S for Walksnail? So this frame, this being the only frame that swings the 45mm propellers, will not work with a 2S battery. So yeah, you won't be able to do this as a 2S build. Nor do you really need to. You wouldn't. The point, I think, of the 75 Pro is the slightly bigger props to pull just a little bit more performance out of a 1S battery. On 2S, the regular 75mm builds are the way to go. There would be little to no benefit at... You would have to like run some cockamamie rubber band setup to hold the 2S battery, and then it's going to be a pain in the ass, and like... yeah. Do it if you want, but don't do it. Don't do it! Don't do it! It's a trap! It's a trap! I better not have the hiccups now. It's a trap! They trapping them hoes, you know? Meteor75 Pro inside of the house. Don't try this at home. Remember that? Remember on like every single show, they would say that at least 18 times? I remember them saying it on Mythbusters over and over and over again. I think this is the wrong module. Yeah, like, see, look at the camera, man. Like this camera just doesn't look as good as the Runcam Nano 3, and it's a lot heavier. This canopy camera VTX setup on this thing is kind of fat. Swapping that whole communications package out would bring the weight down quite a bit, I would guess. CMYK says, would you call an 85mm 03 90-gram rig a TinyWhoop? Sorta, I guess. I'd call it a fatty whoop. A fat whoop. I forgot to set stuff up. Oh god! So as you can see, it's a lot. It's a lot in here. But especially with the tune cranked as high up as I've got it, it is flyable. You hear that? You hear how hard that hit that door? Oh god. And there's a lot of up tilt too, so it really like encourages you to fly fast, which is tough because then you hit shit even harder. Whoa, Teddy! Hello, friend. I did not know you were there, little boy. What you doing, buddy? Why, he is not impressed. Teddy is not impressed by the Meteor75 Pro. Oh god. Here he comes. Here he comes. Let's follow this little fuzzball down the stairs. What do you say? Here he comes. Oh, he coming. Hey, buddy. You want to say hi to it? Want to say hi to it? There you go. Good boy. So with it's heavier, so it's shooting more wind at him. Oh, boy, buddy. This is not the one you want to tangle with. Oh, easy, buddy. Careful. Oh, look at that beautiful coat blowing in the wind. He needs a grooming. He needs a grooming bad. Oh, the flowing robes. Whoa, you're gonna eat it. You wouldn't dare. Oh god, we in this. We in this. Ah. So yeah, man. Like I'm also, quite honestly, kind of blown away at how good it does inside the house. The main problem is how hard it hits your things. Like when this hits stuff, it explode, like things explode. So and I don't want that for you. So yeah, this is more for outdoor stuff, but if you don't own anything that you care about or everything that you own is already broken, then yeah, I mean, fly it inside all you want. It's not going to be as good as a 65 inside, but this is not terrible. This is not bad at all. I am also definitely getting used to flying 75mm rigs because I've been doing it a lot lately. The other day when I flew the 65mm rig, I was very uncomfortable. Oh no. Fuck you! Why do I always crash behind the goddamn IKEA cube? Yeah, buddy, that's what it looks like. Yeah, look at you standing up like a, I don't know what animal stands up like that. Look at that runtime inside the house, too. Oh, wait, no. It's not good runtime. It's bad runtime. But look how high the battery bounced back up. 374, we're good for a little more. Let's get a full banana out of it. Oh, God. I don't pretend to know what just happened, but I hope I didn't break something. Yeah, the runtime's okay. The bigger props give you more efficiency, but unfortunately the frame is heavier, the motors are heavier, the props are heavier, right? So it's... Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. Hold on. Ah, we're good. The antenna gets pulled down into the propellers, and then it jams between the props and the frame. It's not a great antenna setup that they've got going on here. But, yeah. Hey, we're up to 3 minutes. That's okay runtime. And I was jamming around. I wasn't, like, railing on it that hard, but... Alright, now the battery's come down too low. There you go. 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Battery's bouncing back. 363, 364, 365. There you go. So this battery will probably bounce back to like 3.7, which is, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a nice spot. That way you don't have to like storage charge them. They're good to sit for a while. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's the Meteor75 Pro. Now we're going to go ass opposite end of the spectrum to the lightweight custom-built Mobula 7 1S ELRS with the 0703 23500s on it. We're still going to run 1S 450, and you'll be able to see the difference. Small Dog, how are you, sir? Brandon's Big Bean says, don't forget to add a lot of gyro filtering when using that command on a BMI gyro, y'all. There you guys go. Cole Power says, if you were starting with TinyWhoops, would you get a Meteor75 Pro or a 65mm like the Air or Mob 6 2024? That's an easy one, Cole. Where do you want to fly more? Do you want to fly more outside or inside? Outside, 75 Pro. Inside, 65mm build. Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta arm the damn thing. Wrong module. It's got no video because it's low power until first, and it's all the way down in pit mode right now. Come on, ELRS. There it is, and we got video. Schnauzer, no schnauzing. Somebody says in chat. Yeah, that's an easy one, brother. It's all about that. Chronic Nugget says, in your opinion, what's the best racetrack and why is it Laguna Seca? Unpopular ass opinion, but I don't love Laguna Seca. I like it, but I don't love it. Oh God. All right, I gotta adjust to this. This is super different. I think it might feel different because of the up tilt. Hold on. Right now, it actually feels like it has... Yeah. There we go. That's better. Teddy, what are you doing? What is he thinking? All right, so much better suited rig for flying around inside the house, mainly just because it's lighter. These motors actually don't. So this power to weight ratio is not quite as good, so I don't have as much power. But these motors have enough. Again, these are the VCI 0703 23,500s. These motors have just enough, and this is like a relatively balanced rig. I've mentioned balance before, but we don't talk as much about it as we should because it's super important. And like, so this is a balanced rig, but this is on the side of balance. This is on like the lower power to weight ratio side of balance. What's that? I didn't chop a leaf off the thing, did I? Oh, that's chicken. That's Doggy's chicken toy. Ah, fuck. And so, yeah, the 75 Pro is very well balanced. The power to weight ratio, the size, it feels right. When a rig is balanced well, it feels right. This feels right. And you can see I'm able to be more accurate. You see those like corrections that I made coming down that dive tunnel just now? I can make those corrections because this thing is lightweight and it's like a little bit more reactive. The heavier a rig gets, the slower my eyes are closed for that. The heavier it gets, the slower its reactions are, unless you have like an awful big motor to really boss it around. Yay! It didn't fall behind for a change. So, yeah, this is a much lighter, much airier flight experience here. Oh, God, no. Can you hear the difference when this thing crashes, too? When this thing crashes, it, like, dings off of stuff. Ding, 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 ding. Well, that didn't really hit hard enough to give you a noise. But, like, I could... I love you so much. Stop trying to eat it! Oh, boy. This is a little face. Just comes, looks right down on us. Like, what are you doing back there? What are you doing back there? Strange little flying machine. Oh, there he is. He's keeping an eye. The Teddy charge. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. You gonna get it again. Ah! Oh, come on, buddy. Never... Oh, shit. That might have been just me flying like a buffoon. You can also see we've got quite a bit more flight time on this thing. We're up at 3.5 minutes. We'll probably get to like 3 minutes 50 or so. Although, wait, no. Now's when we come in. All right, 3 minutes and 40. Let's see what the battery bounces back to. 364, 365, 366. Yeah, so I took not quite as much out of this battery. If I'd run them down to the same amount, this would be like 6 minutes, 3 minutes and 50. So yeah, you know, of course, lighter weight rigs, you're gonna get more runtime. That's pretty obvious by now. Yeah, not drastically different though, right? Like not that much difference between these two things. And one of these is a bind and fly. One of them is not super hard to get upgraded to this point, right? Unplug motors, unscrew motors, swap motors. You will have to do the BT 2.0 though, so you will have to use a soldering iron on a Mobula 7. I think, right? I don't think they come with BT 2.0. Don't quote me on that. They might. There's a chance they come with BT 2.0. I doubt it though. It won't be BT 2.0. It'll be A30, which is fine. Same thing. This is the 0803 version. Prepare for chaos. A little bit more weight. Bunch more power. Bunch more power. Really? This is on the other module? What are the odds? Last battery, friends. Just Mo says, how does it compare to the 65 Pro frame? I find the 65 Pro frame is fun. Same thing. It's kind of heavier, but with the 65 Pro frame, I just don't get it. There aren't really any good propellers available for it, which is the biggest problem. But yeah, it just doesn't necessarily... The 65 Pro doesn't fix any problems in my experience. If you want to fly inside the house, regular 65 is way better. If you want to fly outside, 75 is the way to go. Oh boy. So this is also the rig where the left rear motor is oh boy, is upset with life. Why is it doing that? Oh boy. Teddy, this is not the rig to be trifling with. Teddy, this is not the quad to be trifling with, my friend. Come on, man. It's this AIO. Teddy, back up! There we go. Oh, shitters. Alright, this is going to be a comedy of errors. I'm just going to stick with it. Come on, right rear motor. There we go. This AIO is on its way out. This is my X12 that's just, like, dead. Ooh, this thing is, this tune is at the limit. So this is a whole other level of power to weight ratio and response. This thing makes, this flies like a 65, like a dialed 65 millimeter rig. Shit. This is one of the more impressive, this is the most impressive 75 millimeter build I've ever flown. It's really, really good. There we go. The runtime's not great, but it's actually kind of okay. Like, look at how this thing moves around. Now, I'm pushing this thing around harder than I was, but I can. Because of the fact that it's responding quicker, I can push it into stuff a lot harder. Because its reaction times will match up with mine. Does that make sense? Shit, I was really trying to not crash it. This is the rig that Spectre AIO is going to go on. Ah, we just had it. There it is. Nope, didn't have it. No, Teddy, no. Teddy! Teddy! Hey, there we go. Look at that power. Ready? Watch this. This is on a dead battery. Ready? That is a tiny throttle blip. And just whoop! Yishibu! Yeah, this is next level. If you want a 75 millimeter rig that absolutely tears a hole through the space-time continuum on 1S, this is the one. So look at that runtime. It sucks! 2 minutes and 30 seconds. These motors make mad power. I've seen 50+ thousand RPM, even with big old 1.6 inch props from these motors. They're crazy. This flies awesome, just like it did on the Walksnail setup, but the runtime is the issue. I don't know. I was flying that pretty hard. You could probably get 3 minutes out of it, but yeah, these motors are aggressive. But they're light as well. They're 0802.8, 27,000 kV, and they just absolutely blast. So yeah, this is my favorite of all the 75s. But man, I'll tell you what, for $110 out of the box, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous how good this flies. Can you get something build something that flies better? Of course, always. But how much time are you going to put into it? Not much. How much money are you going to put into it? A bunch more, right? You got to buy the rig. You buy the Module 7 1S ELRS, comes with useless motors. Not actually useless. The bells on them are great. If you just find some 27, 30,000 kV stators, match them up with, awesome. But yeah, very cool stuff. Most impressive. Great job, BetaFPV. Sorry, I'm just finding out about this rig now. I knew about it, but I just didn't. I didn't know it was this good right out of the box. I figured it would feel heavier, and it does feel heavy, but it doesn't feel that heavy. That one's done. There you go, friends. What do you think of that? More bind and fly reviews. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Is this a bad road to be going down? Kinetic says, thanks for the advice about goggles. I got a used pair of H2O2s in pristine condition. I couldn't love them more. Awesome, dude. That's the way to do it. Zoe101 says, any ideas on a 65mm rig that has an almost perfect tune, but on dives, it gets yaw washout? Would adding more motor idle do it? No, adding more motor will do it. You need more power. TinyWhoops don't like to dive. They are on the way down, this is what's happening. Look how awful that is. This is the worst aerodynamic setup ever, and it's falling straight down like that. So the wind is going crazy. You need a powertrain that has chutzpah to be able to handle all of the swirling air that's trying to make this thing go bananas. And then at the bottom, it's going to want to do yaw washout. Yaw, uncontrollable yaw, ever. If you build a rig and at any point you go full throttle and instead of just doing what it should, it yaws. If that ever happens, that is an instant message to you, hey, this doesn't have enough power. The only way to fix that is with more power. You can make it a little bit better by turning the PIDs up and like breaking out the yaw PIDs and making them like really high, but you're just gonna make it a little bit better at a time doing stuff. The real solution is higher kV motors, lighter all-up weight, more aggressive propellers that are better matched for the motors. Just more power and less weight is the solution to yaw washout. You can technically try going from props out to props in. That might help a little bit. So there are some things, if it only does it the tiniest little bit, you might be able to get it out with tuning, but more than likely you're just going to spend a bunch of time chasing your tail. Spend the $40 on a set of higher kV motors or lighter motors or whatever, and away you go. Friends McBean says it sounds like a car crash. Is there a hole in the drywall? Kevin Sumner with the last comment of the live stream. He says, "Bind and fly reviews. Did you do the YouTuber thing? It's the best thing ever this week." Yeah. Remember, guys, this is the best quad ever. No, it's not the best quad ever, but it's way better than I thought, and that's a good thing. That's always nice. Right, Teddy Spaghetti? Right, little Teddy boy? I got you. I'm gonna make you a star again. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. My name is Teddy Spaghetti, and I'm a bad dog. I am the worst. Not the worst, but I'm pretty bad. I peed on the bed the other day. That's how bad I am. Stop it. Get my finger out of your mouth. Make sure you do the YouTube things, but more importantly, head on over to CiottiFPV.com and join the Patreon. If you don't join the Patreon, I'll get $3 less of snacks, and I'll kill myself because they don't give me enough, and I'm on the edge. And I can jump off the balcony whenever I want. So make sure you take a poop. Poop safe, friends. I love you, doggy. Thank you for shilling. That was nice of you. His voice sounds just like mine. I love you guys. Goodbye forever. I'll see you guys on Friday. That was grim. I'll see you Friday at 7 o'clock. Here's that last battery that I flew with this thing outside, just blasting. I had I had such a blast flying this battery. Here you go, people. Oh, here's the end of the battery. Here's what you didn't see at the beginning of the live stream because I cut it short. Love you guys. Bye. See you Friday.